what's happening now is Helena Hutchins, she was the cinematographer who was killed by Alec Baldwin on the set of his movie Rust. Her husband has filed a lawsuit on February 15th against Alec Baldwin and others involved in the film, claiming that he was reckless and that they cut costs and that is what really led to the 42-year-old Helena's death. In the context of that, they produced a mock-up of the moment Alec Baldwin shot Helena. Virtually everyone would agree by accident, but he says that the husband now says it's a little bit more than an accident. It was a reckless behavior, but no one's alleging intentionality. Anyway, here it is for the listening audience. I'll describe it when we come back. What it shows is her shooting Alec Baldwin with the camera and him sitting, which I actually didn't realize prior to this, that he was sitting and pulling out the gun and shooting her. It's disturbing. It's chilling. And the husband is particularly angry over what we knew would come back to haunt him, which is Alec Baldwin speaking to ABC News, George Stephanopoulos, saying the following. This is SOT 9.
Do you feel guilt?
No. I feel that there is. I feel that someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't say who that is, but I know it's not me.
Well, there are some who say you're never supposed to point a gun at anyone on a set, no matter what.
Unless the person is the cinematographer who's directing me where to point the gun for her camera angle.
The husband's come out and said, watching him, I feel so angry. And the notion that my wife told him to point the gun at her, he says, almost sounds like he was the victim. Here's the husband, Matt Hutchins, responding notably not on ABC, right? He went to NBC. Here he is on the Today Show.
Watching him, I just felt so angry. Just so angry to see him talk about her death so publicly in such a detailed way, and then to not accept any responsibility after having just described killing her.
He said, essentially, he felt grief but no guilt.
Almost sounds like he was the victim. And hearing him blame Helena in the interview and shift responsibility to others and seeing him cry about it, I just feel like, are we really supposed to feel bad about you, Mr. Baldwin?
He never should have given that interview. Never should have given that interview. Mark Garagos was on a couple days after it happened, famed criminal defense attorney, saying he's an idiot. He never should have done it. And he predicted exactly this. Exactly that line would come back to haunt him with a jury, with Helena's husband. It was colossally stupid to give that interview to ABC. He did more harm than good. And you tell me, Jonna, how this lawsuit is likely to go.
See, this is horrible on a number of levels. I think we all can agree that this poor woman, Helena Hutchins, should not be dead. This was a tragedy. And I think all of us would agree, it's not a matter of if somebody's going to pay for her death. It's a matter of how much is that check going to be for. And it will come from numerous sources, not just one person on that set. But as an attorney, I don't know did somebody tell Alec Baldwin not to give that interview? I don't know what prompted him to do that. It's like he's trying to limit his own liability, but that's not how you do it. When you have something like this going on, you sit back, you say nothing except maybe, oh my God, this was a tragedy. I'm so sorry, but I'm not allowed to talk about it, until all the dust settles, because this is what the lawyers need to do. Apportion the liability and settle this case. This husband should not have even had to file a formal lawsuit to get there. This could have been negotiated without that. But Alec Baldwin needs to be Alec Baldwin, I suppose. And his behavior is really, it's deplorable in a lot of ways. He really needs to shut up if it's not already too late.
Harmeet, you know what Alec Baldwin forgot? That the husband can get access to a microphone too. That he wouldn't have the one and only word on this, not in the public domain, not in a courtroom, and that the husband is going to be far more sympathetic than you are, Alec. So keep your mouth shut.
Alec Baldwin is a complete moron, and that predates this particular terrible incident. Now, I mean, as a lawyer, I will tell you, and I think all three of us can tell people that the biggest mistake people make in a circumstance like this, and they could avoid so many lawsuits by simply saying, I'm sorry. A lot of lawsuits happen because the person at fault didn't say, I'm sorry, what can I do to make this right? And John is absolutely correct. This could and should have been resolved privately out of court. The liability is very clear. What happened here is, apparently there was gross negligence, and people walked off of the set hours before this incident happened because of prior incidents involving this specific weapon. And so, I don't know whether he's a narcissist who's listening to his narcissist wife, Hilaria, telling him to go out there and tell his story, but he wasn't the victim. And now he's going to have to pay, and I hope it impacts his career as bad judgment here, because it is really unfortunate that this family is being victimized not only by the death, but also by this callous and even cruel commentary spewing forth. I mean, if I'm a lawyer with this client, I would fire the client. You can't control this client. He's crazy. And I would distance myself from this client.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of great lawyers do that in the past. I mean, when you're up against it, you want the best legal talent you can find representing you, whether it's a criminal case or a big civil case like this. And they have rules too. And they will not represent a client who just fires off, goes off the handle and doesn't take their advice. There's a reason these very great lawyers get very great reputations, right? It's like they need to handle the case. They go through this all the time. I don't have to tell you ladies this. You go through it way more than your clients ever go through it. And they need to shut up and take your advice if they want the right outcome. But he was too full of hubris. He thought he knew better. And now it's coming back to haunt him. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.